This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Welcome to today's Talk Business and Politics. I'm Roby Brock, joined by John Brummett of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Good to see you as always.
Good to be here.
Happy Veterans Day to you
and
as
to you.
well. Let us begin with what you've been tweeting about for months, but particularly over the weekend. Chad Morris, the Razorback football coach, out as the head hog. We cannot
Your
be.
voice broke.
We
It was
cannot
so
be.
emotional.
No, we cannot be too surprised by this.
No.
Gauge the fan reaction to this?
Well, here's how I gauge it. Thank you for that setup. It's perfect. It's just yet another hogaholic binge. That's what I call it. The Arkansas condition I call hogaholism, and it's a cycle. We get overly hyped and overly excited about a coach. We get excited about getting a new coach. We prematurely anoint him as great. He might even turn out to be very, very good, great, like Nolan Richardson or Bobby Petrino or Lou Holtz or Eddie Sutton. Even Ken Hatfield, even those always come to a catastrophic or controversial end. We just live this cycle. And this is yet another example. We're now enduring yet another big buyout to get rid of a coach that a few months ago people were excited about because he was in the hammer down, and we were going in the left lane. They had the hammer down. I say we're pouring out one bottle and paying for that one, and then buying another one, and we wind up drunk again. That's how I see our sequence. And I read a piece. Don't want to go into too much detail, but I read a national piece about the University of Arkansas athletic condition. I don't know who wrote it, and the guy who wrote it, I don't know what site it was. I read so much yesterday, but the guy who wrote it quoted an unidentified source, but the unidentified source said, the Arkansas football job is brutal, one of the worst jobs in the country. I retweeted it. A lot of people get angry. Why do they say that? It's a remote location, one of the smaller schools in its conference, not close to any recruiting hotbed. It is a school that is not positioned to compete, and yet the fans are determined to insist that it compete at the highest level.
I'm going to play devil's advocate with you on a couple points there. Number one, I don't buy the Fayetteville is too remote argument there. I think Fayetteville is a nice community. Northwest Arkansas is the nicest place to live in Arkansas. There's a lot of amenities and a lot of attractions from there. Have you been to Starkville, Mississippi? You have.
Yeah.
Have you been to Baton Rouge? Nobody goes to Baton Rouge to vacation or to live.
People have recruiting bases just as politicians have their bases. And the recruiting base in Starkville is close to Alabama, close to Atlanta, close to Mississippi with a lot more athletes. It's simply closer to your natural home turf provides a richer base of recruiting opportunities. Fayetteville is in nearly to Kansas, and you know Kansas is not a recruiting hotbed. It's near Missouri and near Oklahoma. It's dependent on, say, Memphis, Little Rock, and Dallas. Little Rock athletics has been down for some time for reasons transcending athletics, more about the school problems. Memphis.
A lot of athletes in Northwest Arkansas, though. And we've had a good string of them. Look, I'm not trying to defend what you're saying there. I'm just saying I've never bought into
dialogue.
The Fayetteville that you can't recruit to Fayetteville. You can recruit to Fayetteville. There's a lot going on in Northwest Arkansas.
I don't think you can, and I think I think that sometimes you get lucky and you have a pretty good team and you have a pretty good coach, but he's going to meet with disaster too. But year in and year out, here's what we do. We read these recruiting stories in the paper, and they're all about these athletes. And if you get down to about the 7th graph, you will see they also have offers from Rice, SMU, and Utah State. I'm sorry, that's just, and then they rank like number 23 in the country, and we're thinking, this is great. But do you know what 23 in the nation amounts to in the SEC?
11th or 12th.
12th or 13th. Do you know what it amounts to in our Western Division of the SEC? Last. So you're just up against it with not quite up to SEC standard personnel, and we're demanding so much of a coach and paying so much for a coach, and this is just our cycle. And there's no way out of it because that's our cultural strength. I do think if this had gone on much longer with Morris, and this is why he's fired, with this lack of interest, with empty stands, we could have had a generational change in the hogaholic culture. And I think that's what they realized. We've got to, so this is a big hire, isn't it? This is a very big hire.
If offered, will you accept?
I will not, because it's a bad job. It's a bad job. I want to get down there close to the recruiting hotbed. I'll take the Mississippi State job.
You take the SAU job is what you're going to do.
No,
That's
no,
near the
no.
Louisiana border.
Yeah. You're twisting what I'm saying, but
College Station? Will you go College Station?
no, they've paid $75 million for one down
Tuscaloosa? Have you been to Tuscaloosa?
there. See, you're
I'd go Fayetteville before I go Tuscaloosa.
You're talking about art, the availability of art museums and general quality of life. I'm talking about the population base, and it's two different things. And anyway, you're just being kind of a.
I'm being cranky this morning.
It's early.
I'm taking over.
It's early.
I'm taking over for you. So
it's unusual for me to be the nice one in a conversation, but I appreciate that.
Let's move on and talk about impeachment. The
Okay.
impeachment inquiry was formalized a little over a week ago. We're going to have open hearings, apparently starting this week.
Yeah.
Do they make a difference?
Well, they could. That's the big question. I hate to not answer your questions, but I mean, the best political analysis is we're getting ready to have the defining experience in American culture, and that is a daily television show. How will it play? Watergate switched on the Sam Ervin hearings. I mean, that's the public opinion was galvanized by what people could see. Mueller's report came to nothing because Mueller was not very good on TV in his testimony. How will it play? How dramatic will the moments be? How clear will any message that comes out be? So that's, I think I know how it's going to end with impeachment.
Let's hear it.
With impeachment and a failure to convict in the Senate. But what will be the residual, what will be the lasting political effect, if any? Will there be a backlash against Democrats for overplaying their hand, or will Trump be damaged from what comes out? Right now, I'm leaning toward the latter, actually. Mm-hmm. That's what the surveys indicate, and when it goes on TV, it's going to be most interesting. What will be wild is for this to be dominating all of the channels that the president watches. And to have the TV on and be watching the real Donald Trump Twitter feed will be quite a show.
Executive time, lots of executive time on the schedule there.
Yeah.
But this is my takeaway. His mission is to muddy the messaging up as much as possible, confuse as much as possible, throw enough out there in terms of additional stuff to hit the fan that you don't know what to believe. You don't know, you got the whataboutism, you got the other scenarios out there. That's going to be his strategy, don't you think?
Yeah, and the Democrats submitted a witness list of people having nothing to do with the case at hand. This is...
the Republicans.
Republicans,
yes.
I mean. This is pleading guilty by reason of changing the subject. I've been saying that all along. That's what they're doing. That's Trump's objective. Trump is, I think, that's one thing he's competent at, is that kind of muddying, and he's good at it, and that's what's going to happen. And I do think the best point in his defense was made, I think, over the weekend by Nikki Haley, his former ambassador, former South Carolina governor, who said, if everything is true, what do you got? You got a money that was paid, not withheld, and there's been no investigation of Joe Biden. No matter what he said, no matter what the talk that's got the Democrats so upset, none of that actually happened. Is this a reason to impeach? That's almost a good case. In fact,
the fact is the whistleblower complaint led to the money being released. The money was released 2 days after the whistleblower complaint came
and
out.
it's attempts at doing wrong are generally under the criminal code are crime. You could say, I just tried to rob that bank. I didn't get it right. Well, you're still in trouble. I'm just saying
we just tried to break into Watergate.
Right.
I just told a little white lie under oath of office, and it was perjury.
But effectively, her point, I think it's a decent point. Are we going to remove a president because of two things that he shouldn't have done, but that did not happen? And it's a political decision, and it's the best, most substantive Trump position that I've seen. The rest of it is to muddy the waters.
We'll see where it goes. So it'll be interesting to watch. All right, lastly, a state story first reported by the Arkansas Times this past week that Asa Hutchinson's son, Asa 3, has some lucrative, apparently, contracts with some of the companies that have been locating from overseas to Arkansas. Is this a story that deserves more attention?
Yes, and I take that on myself. I mean, I haven't written about it, and you all have written about it on the website, but perhaps might look further, I would think. Yes, I mean, look, appearances matter. There's cynicism about government because everybody can look at things and say, see, that's nepotism, that's cashing in. There may be nothing wrong here, but here's my position. The governor is going on a trade mission that's going to China. His son has a law firm which does international business, and he apparently has Chinese clients that he works for. He pays his own way on the trip. I don't care, so what? He pays his own way. The problem is what's he doing on the trip, and is he benefiting from the trip, and is he benefiting from it, even by paying his own way, that borrows from the public role, public responsibility, public nature of his father's work, and that's a violation of trust, and it's just a matter of ethics. There's nothing. I mean, it's like, and I'm consistent on this. I've said, even though I think Biden's didn't commit any crime, Hunter Biden should not be appearing to cash in on his father, the vice. This is Biden too. It's the same thing. And if Donald Trump's going to make a big deal of it, and the Republicans want to bring Hunter Biden in to testify, then Asa Hutchinson shouldn't be allowing anything similar in Arkansas and in his trip to China. That's just my position. How hard would it be for a dad to say, son, don't take this trip with us. It just wouldn't look good. That's all I'm asking them to do, and it doesn't seem like that it's that hard a thing to do.
Yep. We'll see where it goes. All right, he's John Brummett with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for your insight.
You bet.
All right. Thank you for watching. I'm Roby Brock. We'll see you next time.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America, moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us.
Oh, I love you too, sweetie.
Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.
I did.
You'll find us at the end of a lot of long country roads, covering over 60% of the great state of Arkansas. Our 17 electric distribution cooperatives are working day and night to provide reliable, affordable power to over 500,000 homes, farms, and businesses, just like yours. The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, your local energy partners.